My wife doesn't respect me. She insults me all the time. What should I do if my wife doesn't respect me? She doesn't respect my parents. She doesn't respect anything that I'm saying, and she's always criticizing me. In this situation, what should I do? If this is a question, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to talk about why she's criticizing you. What is the myth behind why she's criticizing you? Because many of us think in particular way. I want to burst that myth. The second thing is, what is the real reason why she's not respecting you? Why she's not respecting your parents? And the last one is, what can you do? So continue to watch this video and learn the science behind your relationship. Hi, Coach Val here. I help men who are together to have a great marriage. I help men who are separated to get back. And I help men who are going through a divorce process to bring that love back into their relationship. Before I jump into the topic of what do you do if your wife doesn't respect you, I want to make it very clear that who this video is for. This video is for people who have an open mindset to learn. Because like in life, everything turns around, everything we can transform if we have a mindset to learn new things. So if you're somebody who wants to learn why these things are happening at a scientific way and want to find answers, then this video is for you. But if you are somebody who is somebody who has a closed mind, who doesn't want to learn, he just want to prove his point of view, and that's why he's watching this video, then if you're somebody like that, please don't watch it. So with that disclaimer, let us jump into this particular video. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, what is the myth? Why she's not respecting you? Let's start with the first thing is why it's not is she doesn't get up with the intention of disrespecting you. Let me explain that. Probably I've explained this in some other video, but let me explain it once again. When you see your wife not respecting you, you would easily feel that she is just doing it purposely. It looks like she gets up in the morning and the first thought that comes to her mind is, at 3:15 is a good time this evening to shout and scream at my husband and not respect him and be disrespectful at 3:15. It looks like that. But the truth is not that. I'm going to talk about what is the truth. But the first thing for you to understand is to bring your mind out of this kind of thinking that is only leading to negativity. And why it's leading to negativity is because even if you marry the second time, if you continue to have this thought, even your second and the third and the fifth marriage will be miserable. Okay. So the first thing to understand is that no one gets up to hurt somebody else. Everything in the world, including in our relationships, work on a simple principle of Newton. Every action has equal and opposite reaction. There has to be some action of the present or of the past that is bringing about this reaction. The second thing is, she doesn't enjoy disrespecting you. It looks like that. Though it looks like she's enjoying this, insulting you or your parents, it looks like that. She gets great thrill out of it. It is not true. Just ask yourself, do you enjoy disrespecting somebody? Do you enjoy shouting at somebody? Do you enjoy talking hurtful things to somebody? No, right? They come from a place of hurt. There's this beautiful analogy is, have you ever shouted at somebody? What's your answer? Of course, yes. Okay. Now, would you ever shout at somebody just like that? What do you think? Think about a person you have shouted at. Did you just shout at that person just like that for the fun of it? No, right? You might say, my wife is different. She's not. She's not. At this moment, it looks like she's different. But as you learn further, you'll understand what is it about you that is making her feel hurt. I'm going to talk about these 4 horsemen of apocalypse, and you'll understand what it is, why she's doing it. So the first thing I want you to get your mind off is she doesn't get up with the intention of being disrespectful, and the second thing is she doesn't enjoy doing it, though it looks like that. Now, now let's come to the next part. Is then why is she doing this? Why is she doing this? So why is she doing this is because there are 3 stages to a marriage. No matter who you get married, no matter how many times you get married, there are 3 stages your marriage has to go through. Whether it is a love marriage, arranged marriage, really doesn't matter. I talk in depth about these 3 stages in my live masterclass. So if you have not signed up for this live masterclass, you're not part of the community of awesome husbands, then I invite you to go to this link, what you see on the screen right now. I've given the link in the description, also in the comment section. It is coachval.co, coachval.co. Go to that link and sign up for a live masterclass where I teach in depth about these 3 stages. But for now, let me quickly explain what these 3 stages are. So the first stage of your marriage is called the romance stage. Even if the person says, we never had a romance stage, we started fighting on the day, my wife started fighting with me on the 2nd day of my marriage, still before his marriage, he had 1 or 2 days, if not more, of the romance stage. Now, no matter who you get married, no matter how many times you get married, this romance stage has to end. No matter whatever combinations you choose in the next wife you will be with, this romance stage is going to end. And then you start with something called the power struggle stage. And power struggle stage is given. Now, what happens when how do we get into power struggle stage? We get into power struggle stage because we do not understand the other person. Okay? And we hurt the other person consciously or unconsciously. And when we hurt the other person consciously or unconsciously, and it can happen from our wife, because every action, my wife is my reflection, that's it. Then, because we do not know how to converse when we are hurt, there are 4 behaviors overtake our marriage. So let me jump into, these are called by an expert by the name of John Gottman as 4 horsemen of apocalypse. Okay, what are these behaviors? The first behavior is called criticism, and criticism is demonstrated by the person who is hurt. And what is hurt? Hurt is, in simple terms, I feel in a given situation that I feel that I don't matter to my spouse. I don't matter to my spouse. My spouse buys something without asking me. It's not about the money. It's not about whose money it is. But if she doesn't ask me, it makes me feel that I don't matter. And that's where, because I don't know how to communicate that, it comes out as you made a mistake or you are bad. And that's called criticism. Okay. I come home late. I don't inform her. Because not that I didn't want to inform her, but I forgot to inform her. Whatever happened, I was busy at the workplace and I came home late. Now, when I do that, my wife becomes critical. Why? Because that particular moment, she's feeling that she doesn't matter. Now, criticism walks in. Now, in your relationship, if your wife does a lot of criticism, then you take up the second role, and that is called defensiveness. Let's come here, and that is called defensiveness. So what is defensiveness? Criticism always comes in the form of questions, and it also communicates to the other person, see, you are wrong, you're bad. And our brain considers that as an attack. So let me give you an example of this criticism defensiveness conversation. You come home, all right, you are late, and your wife, instead of talking to you nicely. Because she's hurt, she says, why are you late? Now, from her tone, you know that she's attacking. But the only thing you know when she says, ask a question like that, is to defend your stand. Why you are late? Because she's asking you, right? So you say that I'm late because of the traffic. The traffic. Now, what are you doing? In your head, you're giving a logical answer to a question that is asked. But what you're actually doing is you're defending yourself. Now, that is called a fight. That's called a fight. There are no miserable marriages in the world without criticism and defensiveness. In other words, every miserable marriage has criticism and defensiveness. Okay. Now, because this criticism and defensiveness, and the topic for this criticism defensiveness conversation really doesn't matter. It could be your mother, it could be your mother-in-law, it could be your father-in-law, it could be a wedding that you're supposed to attend. No matter what it is, every time you have a conversation like this, you move apart from each other. And now you, after some time of having this criticism defensiveness conversations in your marriage for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, slowly you guys get promoted. You get promoted from being, your wife is a criticizer. Then I spoke about why criticize. That is the person feeling that she doesn't matter. If your wife is a criticizer, she moves to a next level called contempt. Contempt is the person is sick of the way you are, and the person attacks your very self. You are a narcissist. You are a good for nothing person, man. You are useless. That is called contempt. And that's exactly what your wife could be doing. She's being disrespectful of you. She attacks your very own character. She attacks your mother's character. Now she's being disrespectful. If you look at it as just as a behavior, you're confused. It is very easy to blame our spouse. Very, very easy. It doesn't take very long. And that's why people who are even in the second marriage or in the third marriage, they have the same misery that they had in the first marriage. But the context is different. The situation is different. Okay. So what happens? Why is she becoming contemptuous? Why she's demonstrating this? It's because probably you are also got promoted from being a defensive. I spoke about why defend. Okay. Because you feel that she's saying that you're wrong. You promote yourself from being a defensive person to stonewalling. What is stonewalling? It is being a stone no matter what happens around you. So a person who is stonewalling would be sitting at the table, looking at his phone while his wife is criticizing. He thinks that he's doing a great job because he is not taking part in that conversation. And that's how his wife will relax. So she might throw there is a beautiful, I think it was an ad, it, beautifully explained it, is she's angry because there's something that she feels that that's making her feel that she doesn't matter. So she comes, puts the cup, and this man is calm. He picks up the cup, keeps it on the side. She picks up the cushion from the chair and throws at him. He just gets up from the chair, picks up the cushion, puts it back on the chair. He looks like a saint. But that very behavior is called stonewalling. That means your wife's hurt is not affecting you because you have been hearing this for so many years. Now you can blame your wife for saying this or criticizing you or being showing contempt, but that doesn't fix anything. I want you to look inward and look at yourself. Okay, so now that is called stonewalling, and now this couple is living at a space of contempt and stonewalling. And that is called your wife being disrespectful. Now let's look at what can you do to change your wife. What can you do to change your wife? Now, I start with what you shouldn't do because that's very important. So let's start with what you shouldn't do. The first thing you shouldn't do is don't tell her to change. This is one of the biggest mistakes that we men do it, including me. Until I learned relationship science, I started doing these mistakes. So the first thing to do is don't tell her to change. Before we talk about point number 2, point number 3, and point number 4, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead, subscribe to this channel, click that bell icon so that every time I put up a video, you get the notification first. Generally, I put up the video on a Sunday because Sunday is a free day. So you get the notification first, and also click on that like button. Okay. Now, as you are learning, if there is any insight that you got so far, write in the chat box, because it's only introspection can bring you a great marriage. Only introspection. The people who look outward at their wife easily think that their wife is wrong. Okay. And your wife also thinks the same way, because your wife is your reflection. They get out of this marriage, get into one more marriage, make a mess of things, and they move to the one, to the next, to the next. In fact, the divorce rate for the second marriage is more than the divorce rate for the first marriage. Okay, because of this very reason that we don't understand the second stage of this marriage. And just quickly, the third stage is called mature love stage or deep friendship, and very few people, according to research, get there. And my goal through this video, with all my videos, is to help you to get out of power struggle and get into mature love stage. So how do you do that? So the next thing that you got to understand, I spoke about don't tell her to change, because more you know from experience that more you tell her to change, things will only get worse. So don't tell her to change. That will not change anything, because for a simple reason is that she is not doing this purposely. If she was doing it purposely, you could easily stop her, because there is nothing that is instigating this. So don't tell her to change. Then what do? The thing you got to do is the second thing, don't do nothing. That's one more thing that we men do when our wife disrespects us. Either we tell our wife or we keep quiet. We keep quiet. That's called stonewalling. So that's the second thing not to do, is do nothing. The third thing is you got to stop stonewalling. You got to stop stonewalling. What do I mean by stop stonewalling? Stonewalling is, let's come here. I want to, this particular, this diagram that I have, this particular picture that I've taken it from a website called lifeandgoal.com. This is originally by John Gottman, and I want to thank lifeandgoal.com for this particular image. So stonewalling. So stonewalling is withdrawing from the interaction, what I spoke about, shutting down, checking out, habitually acting busy, or engaging in obsessive behaviors to numb and avoid tension. That is what stonewalling is. Okay. How do people do it? Less words and more action. Half listening, overworking, watching, you're busy on the phone basically, you're hanging out with others. That's stonewalling. Why not do it? Avoiding conflict increases it. The other party feels, that is your wife feels, invisible and unimportant, prompting her to yell louder to get some response. Problems pile up and fester, setting the relationship up for more tension. And that's what exactly has happened in your marriage. Because you're feeling so anxious when your wife criticizes you, you just numb down. And that's very dangerous. The men in our community who have learned this stuff at a very deep level keep sharing about the dangers of stonewalling, how stonewalling can make your wife fall in love with somebody else, how stonewalling can make your wife leave you. So what do? What you not need to do is, the first thing, when your wife becomes disrespectful, softly tell her that you are feeling flooded and need a break. Okay, do whatever helps to calm yourself, then come back and resume. This is the first thing. I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg in this session, okay, in this particular video. The second thing is, tell your wife that this topic is really important and I want to be present, but I'm feeling overwhelmed. Can we take a 30-minute break so I can clear my head and fully engage? You're asking your wife. The third thing is having important interaction when you're feeling overloaded is lose-lose situation. Ground yourself often so you can effectively address what matters. So why she has become so disrespectful is because of the behavior of stonewalling, and why you have been stonewalling is because of this anxiety. Like, I don't know what to say. She talks about my mother, she talks about my father, she talks about what happened 5 years ago, and I don't know what to say, and I'm totally confused, and that's why I keep quiet. And that very thing makes your wife feel checked out, makes your wife feel unimportant. So the thing you got to do is two things basically. The first one is you got to make your wife feel that she matters, because when your wife feels that she matters, she will reduce this kind of talk. Okay. There is a whole new way of making your wife feel that she matters, because you got to understand her psychology, her way of thinking, her personality type. Attend the master class, I'm going to talk about it. The second thing you got to do is be present when she's criticizing. Just be present, absolutely present. Initially she will be yelling at you, but because you're present, she will calm down, because for the first time probably you're listening to her pain. And how do you remain present without getting flooded by what she's saying? The easiest way is to listen to her emotions rather than the words. Don't answer the words, respond to the emotions. What does it mean? Let's say that you come home late, and first of all, the step number one is understand what is hurting her and take care of it. So if I'm going to be late, I'm going to tell my wife that I'm going to be late and I'm sorry for it. Okay. Now, once you come home, let's say she's still hurt and she says, why are you late? I'm not going to answer that question. I'm going to say, I'm sorry for being late. Now, if the hurt is still deep because of the past, again, she will continue. And at that moment, you're just going to listen. The men in our community of awesome husbands often talk about this. They have met their wife after 2 months or 3 months or 6 months or sometimes 1.5, 2 years of separation. And when they meet their wife is fuming. But that's how she has been feeling for so many years. And for the first time, you notice that. And then they tell me that now I'm able to see the pain, because they have done a lot of introspection. They say that and stopped blaming their wife. They see that how the pain she's going through, and they're able to stand there. So that's the important thing. And the last thing is, you might tell me, often people tell me this, that Are yaar, ye to maine kiya hai. Like, I've done this, I've done all this, it doesn't work. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right, it doesn't work. Why it doesn't work is because you have done it once. You have done it once. If you had been having these 4 demons in your marriage for the last, let's say, 5 years of your marriage, and you have done listening once, twice, let's say 100 times, let's say 50 times, do you think things will change? Of course, the answer is no. That's not how relationships change. The way relationships change is continuous positive experience. And with every experience, it's not only you're taking care of your wife, it is you're taking care of yourself. You will start feeling better with every interaction that you have. Initially, it will be the interaction from your wife will be disrespectful, but if you follow the science to the T, understand her personality type, understand your personality type, understand how do you communicate, what's going to happen is she's going to soften. And there will be a point where the men in our community have told me this. My wife was disrespectful once yesterday for whatever happened. I forgot, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, and that's hurt her. And once that happened, the next morning she said sorry to me. She said, I'm irritated. I got irritated with what happened and I'm sorry. What brought about that change? Who brought about that change? That person. So that's all for this video. There are more videos at the end of this video. Just click on the video that you really like and continue to watch. Couple of things to do before you start watching the other videos. The first thing is, write in the comment section what's the one thing that you have learned. Okay. And if you are part of the Awesome Husbands Hub, then use the hashtag AHH, awesome husband sab, and write the comment. So that's all for this video. Continue to watch the other videos. If you like this video, please go ahead, subscribe, click that like button, click on that bell icon. And if there is somebody in your life who needs to listen to this message, then please pass on this video to that person. The only reason why we get stuck at power struggle stage is not because we are bad people, not because our wife is bad, not because our in-laws are interfering in our marriage. It's because we got to learn relationship science to get out of power struggle stage and get into mature love stage. It requires learning, and you can help somebody to learn this science. Thank you very much. Until we connect again, keep your love story alive, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.